Welcome to the Grandpa Channel, where stories don't fade, they get recorded. I'm Steve Harris. My grandkids call me Rivers. This podcast is where grandpas and grandchildren pull up a chair, turn on a mic, and let her rip. Grandpa stories are chock full of wisdom, life lessons, and frankly, funny as hell. Your stories are the magic elixir to help your grandkids navigate Mr. Toad's wild ride, aka life. Let's Grandpa. Greetings. We have something new and groovy coming at you from the Grandpa Channel. It's called the Hotline. This is our way of handing you the mic. If you got a nifty or gritty story, we'd love to hear it. We believe everyone has a story to tell, and we want yours. Each month, we'll share a new prompt, and you can record your own story. To kick things off, we're starting with something both sublime and life-altering, a voice I haven't heard for well over a decade. A few weeks ago, we came across a lost recording of my dad, Grandpa Lou, sharing stories from his life, how he met my mom, their wedding, the Korean War, and how he bribed a sergeant and became a bartender without ever tasting a drop. This is exactly what the Hotline is all about. Preserving voices and memories before they slip away. Take it away, Lou.
Well, we had a good time. We met at South High School. Dated probably 2.5 years before we got married. Unfortunately, at that time, I was in the service. I was going to university. There were draft deferrals because of university students, but I missed being draft exempt by 2 days. So I thought, well, what can I do to help the war effort? To end the war as soon as possible, to be a real factor in it. And I thought, I'd be a cook. I actually went into being a cook because I didn't want KP. We never cleaned at my house. We just threw it away or moved. So at any rate, I got through basic training and we set our marriage date. But it was right after I finished basic training. I thought I'd get a week's vacation. And in fact, I got none at all because I got stationed at Fort Ord. So I came home. We had a marriage date set at the temple. And so I came home without having to pass. I officially was AWL, but I had a sergeant covering for me. I bribed him somewhat. And so I thought I better hurry and get back because he might sober up. And so I was riding. I was throwing up all night. And I don't know what June was doing. It wasn't anything with me. But we had a great time. We got down to Fort Ord, and we had a place to stay. We drove over to Pacific Grove and rented rented a little condo, wasn't it, June?
Yeah.
Rented a room for 2 days in Pacific Grove. We were right on the ocean at Lovers Point, and that was appropriate. But the house we lived in wasn't appropriate. It was a direct contrast to Lovers Point. It was a garage that had been made into a duplex overlooking the ocean. And by now, it's probably fallen down into the ocean. And part of that time for me was spent at Presidio in San Francisco, where I was given the opportunity to become a chef and a baker deluxe. That was a really interesting time. It was the Korean War. And the basic infantry company I went through, we went through 20 weeks of basic training. Standard was for infantry was 16 weeks, but they gave us another 4 weeks because of our job and the enemy we fight. But we were always working off her money anyway. She bought the ring for the engagement ring. And we got down there. We didn't have a house. We didn't have furniture. They had a individual in the ward there in Pacific Grove, Pop Decker, who found us an apartment, who gave us some utensils we could use until we could. Always thought I was going to go to Korea, and I thought, yeah, that's why I got the extra basic training to put me in line for facing the gooks from North Korea. But actually, the extra 4 weeks was to protect me from the troops who ate my baking goods because they weren't that good. Well, I'd been in some pretty bad cars, so that wasn't that bad. We thought we're going to starve to death. I made $78 a month. And so I had to get June to work right away. And so we did that. And she got a job 2 days after we got down to Pacific Grove. And we had her little apartment. And to us, it was classy. To June, it was a step down. For me, it was June got a job 2 days after she got there in the credit bureau as a secretary. I got a job immediately in the officers club being a bartender. And my drinks that I mixed were exacting. I was reading them off a chart. And so they hired Mormon boys to be the bartenders because they didn't want them to drink all the booze. So that's where I came and got hooked on hard liquor. But that was kind of a tough time. I think a lot of the fellows that was in the basic company I was in were killed in Korea. And there was a lot of racial prejudice at that time also. So I got the cooks and bakers course in. I headed up one section of the baking crew. Willard Hendrickson headed up the other section of the baking crew. And together, we didn't make friends, but when you're in basic, you'd sit at the table and they'd serve family style. You'd put a quart of milk between your legs to make sure you got enough food. And I didn't lose weight in the basic training, I gained weight.
That's it for today's episode of the Grandpa Channel. Leave a review, share it with a friend, or better yet, tell your favorite grandpa. We're on a mission to gather 1 million grandpas, storytellers, wisdom keepers, and lovable wild cards. Until next time, keep the mic hot, the memories fresh, and the jokes just slightly inappropriate. I'm out of here.